Good evening and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's first budget hearing for November 7th, 2019 for the 2020 budget. It is approximately 6:39 p.m. on November 7th. We are going to start with opening up the agenda for public comment on budget issues only. So if there's anyone from the public that is here that would like to comment on the 2020 budget, now would be your time to do so. You'll have other opportunities as we go through the process throughout the budget season here. Seeing none, we're going to close that part, and we're going to move over to our presentation of our department heads. We're going to start with Mr. Joe Habala for Cable TV 15. So, Joe, welcome.
Hi, Mayor. My page will be 105 in your budget books. If everybody's ready, I'll wait till you guys get ready there.
Very
Are we good? All right. My objective codes, they start at 2110, which is outside personal services. That last year we put 7,000 in there. This year we're going to up it by 1,000. The equipment's getting older, and when I have to bring in the engineers, their prices have gone up. So we're just giving ourselves a little bit of a buffer in case anything big would go during that time. We should be able to cover it. Pretty much the other items down the line, the next one would be, for me, would be in the telephone, and we left that all the same. Automotive repairs is a 2611. Pretty much everything stayed the same as last year. We didn't up too much. Films and photographic supplies, we added a little bit more because of the cost of, that's for like CDs, that's for batteries, for the microphones, things like that, small little items. A few things we have less, like the tires. Last year we had 1,200. We made it 800 since we've got some new tires. Electronic parts, it was 1,300 last year. We made that 700. The biggest thing is the 5310. Last year we had to buy, we had to replace our server, and we spent over 23,000. So from that budget line item is now down to $7,400 from 23,000. So that was our biggest drop. Other than that, everything pretty much stayed the same. If there's any questions on any of the line items, I can answer them.
Council?
I have none.
I'm
None.
good.
Nothing.
Thank you.
Anything else? As far as what I want to do next year is I'm going to replace the two flat monitors here, screens. I was going to go 60 inches. There was a suggestion made to even go 70 if we could. The only one is I'm not sure if that could hold 70 over there. I don't know if we'd have enough room, but if we can put, this one is very old. It needs replaced anyways. We've had this one serviced. So that's one of our goals, along with maybe getting, I want to get a Adobe Premiere editing system in. We have Final Cut now, and there's no more service or any parts on that. So,
Do you have any costs in here at all for either of those?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any costs in here for either of those
Yes.
items?
Yes. Probably under the 5310 is where I was going to replace the flat screens here. My Adobe, what I got was, I have that under line item of 2910. I got it for $400. I think we can get that with the software for $400
Okay.
to get us started. So I have that as a line item
Great.
too. So unless there's any questions,
No, bigger's better, or I say that.
Anything
Yeah,
else?
we can't
I
have
just
it,
want to
yeah.
say, Joe, I see you're under last year's budget. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're welcome, sir.
Good job.
Good
All
job,
right, well,
thank
thank
you.
you
Thanks,
very
Joe.
much. Thank you.
Nice job, Joe.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Joe.
Council, the Senior Center will be presenting at the next budget hearing, so we're going to move over to Tina Mueller, our IT department.
Page number, somebody?
I am under expenditures, page 22 and 23.
What page?
22 and 23. So I'm sure, as you noticed, there's a request for more money. All of the things that I asked for this coming year are personnel related. So there are two personnel requests that I'd like to make. I want to list them separately in case you decide you like the one and not the other. As you know, the IT department is two people, myself and Andy Kosovan, who is going to be retiring in April. He's been here 20 years. So obviously, we want to replace him. But what I want to ask for is, because he's been here 20 years, he's got all that knowledge in his brain, we would like him to actually train the next person coming in. So I'd like there to be an overlap of a few months so that he can fully train this person. So I'm asking for enough money so that we can hire that person in January, and when Andy leaves in April, then, it'll just be one person after that.
Where would you have
And he would
that?
stay?
Yeah, this new person, yeah, because
Gotcha.
this would be to replace Andy's position because he's retiring.
Oh, absolutely.
So we just want to give him a chance to get all that knowledge into the new person.
Do you have that in here?
Yes, it's in here already, and from what I understand, the budget was balanced with this, already. So it's already in
I
there.
told Andy he can't retire.
I'd really rather he didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you can stop him though, but
Oh, yeah, we can.
yeah, okay. Well, yeah, you can save yourself
Yeah.
some money.
So you want a 4-month overlay for training?
For
Late?
training. Yeah,
Okay.
well, it's really, he's leaving sort of like mid-April, so
Okay,
it'll really
3.5.
3.5
Okay.
months, yeah. So that's the one thing I'm asking for. So then the second thing I'm asking for is an additional IT person. Asking so that there'd be 3 people in the department. Now, I know that we've hired someone for the police in the IT department, and he's already got a whole stack of things on him. We've got him started on some, projects that were kind of languishing. We've got him doing upgrades and things like that. So he's already, full-time being taken for that.
Does that come out of the police budget, or is
That
from-
one is actually in the police budget,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
That's completely out of the police budget. Also, in addition to, of course, every year we get upgrades to software programs or additional software programs. Our Public Works Department has started, promoting people, getting more computers, getting smartphones. Mr. Hugas has them all on email and everything now. So they're requiring a lot more support, IT support needs. And in addition, and I'm sure Mr. Poach knows, every year it's more security issues, more viruses, more spammers, more hackers trying to go after us. So it's kind of to the point where we really think we could use an extra person.
Not only that, Tina, I was reviewing over all the stuff the department heads that are going to be presenting tonight, and you gave me a spreadsheet of all of the support that we pay for. But if you could do this, give me that sheet with a total number on there, because there's no total on the spreadsheet, because I want to share that with council and show council possibly next Thursday, when we continue on with our budget hearings, how much we pay in support with respect to Munis.
You mean outside?
Tell us that.
Outside support?
Tell us
I was
that.
going to
Oh,
say,
yeah, I'd
because
like to see that.
my contract service fees, we've got like 74,000 in there, but that does not even include Munis, and that doesn't include our police CAD software support either.
Which are probably
So
the
when you
most
add that all
expensive.
in, it's hundreds
Well
of
over
thousands of
100,000.
dollars.
Rec tracks through the,
Yeah,
RecTac too, although that's not terribly a lot of money.
that comes out of you or that comes out of?
That actually is coming out of Parks, and then Senior Center has a version of that as well, and it comes out of their
Their own,
budget.
okay.
When
Do you have
it's-
another person in here? Or you want to add another?
That other person, that is in here.
It's already in
Both
here.
those things I asked for are already
Okay.
on that listing. That's why it's kind of looks so big there.
Okay.
And remember, of course, that's not all salary. That's, salary and benefits.
And benefits, yeah.
And I had Jill project the numbers, and what she did is assume this person was going to have a whole family. So the health care is for a whole family. If this
Yeah.
ends up being a single person, it'll be less money,
Okay.
Right.
that sort of thing.
I can,
But I can,
Excuse me.
yes, give you the list.
well, I'm in agreement with
I can vouch that Tina's tired of hearing from me. It's a true story.
Yeah, I mean, IT is certainly,
Paul,
Yes.
we all are.
I know. That's right.
I had to zing you back on me taking up the time last month, so I
I
had
got
to
broad
get back.
shoulders, I'll take it.
you've been waiting this whole time for it.
I think that we've already kind of been having that discussion that things are evolving, it's needed.
Thank you. Yeah.
Council, any other questions for Tina?
Nope.
Yes, sir.
I think no one can argue that, IT is growing and it's not going it's not going to
Yeah,
get
it's not
smaller.
going to go backwards.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's becoming more complicated now.
Yes.
It is.
Do you think that there's much of more of the capital, like, expense side of anything heavy-duty
Well,
equipment?
yeah, now I know that you've made, like, I think Mr. Little just threw a bunch of money in capital and knowing that we were going to have to divide it out.
Right.
I have been working on a 5-year capital plan,
That'd be great.
all the computers, all the servers, all the extra equipment, so, yeah, you'll,
Yeah, that's
It's like-
consistent
it's
with.
like-
that'll
what
be
we
even
talked
worse.
It's your
We're-
Christmas dream wish list.
We will be
Yeah.
tackling
Well, maybe,
that.
maybe more than just dream, and maybe
No, I understand that.
necessity,
That's-
as it
Yeah,
time
and when
moves
are we
forward.
going to see such a item,
Soon,
the dream list?
soon.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Okay, we're not
Well,
there
we're
yet.
getting there. I just wonder,
We'll get through
Okay.
this one first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Good deal.
well, some of that could be some of this. That's why I asked.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina. Nice job. Parks and Recreation, Paul Estock and Joanne Morris.
How'd you win?
This is the one I was trying to back that we got,
Yeah.
too.
Thank
So
you.
it- Go on, thanks.
Goody, thanks.
I wouldn't have to dig, we have it right here.
What page
You
is
don't
it?
even have to,
It's
right here, it's all in here,
It's all
Ron.
right in here.
You guys are gonna start on page, we're gonna be under 3365. We're gonna go to expenditures. So under expenditures, we're on page 75.
Excuse me.
Expenditure page 75. And we don't have to spend a lot of time on expenditures for 3365 because it doesn't fall underneath our budget. All the expenditures will fall under Paul's budget for Public Works when he comes in here next week. The only thing that we oversee under 3365 is the revenue side. The revenue side is on page 27, revenue 27, page 27. At the very bottom is what 3365 falls underneath us, and what falls underneath us is the pavilion rentals, beer permits, any type of pavilion rentals, ceremonies, stuff like that. That's where we fall underneath as far as revenue
I'm sorry, what
goes.
page you say?
Revenue, page 27.
I'm on page 20, that's expenditure.
Revenue
It
27.
says revenue at the bottom, 27.
Basically, as you're all aware, the park continues to be a great asset for the community. We get more and more people want to hold events there. We had the Jack Sedlak Cleanup Day this year again. We had at least 500 people participate. The school district does Jamesty at the end of the school year. Poor York Shakespeare is growing as a local theater group through our municipality. Monroeville Foundation held their second annual Community Day. I understand there were at least 3,000 people that attended that. So we're getting more and more out in the community. Local people are using it as well as people in other communities, which is good, I think, because the more people that know our resources, the more people that want to live here. So, the more assets that we can show to the community and neighboring communities, the more that benefits us.
And also underneath there too, obviously now those six pickleball courts were completed, along with the tennis courts and the basketball courts. That's where I showed you the pictures there.
Are they
And
still playing pickleball up there?
I saw
They
them last
just
I mean,
week.
even though the
now-
weather's
They're
changing.
starting to
I saw 'em
change
last
now.
week.
Yeah.
We left a couple nets for them in a container. If they get a nice day, they can come out and put them up. So they're very portable and they're very easy to put up. So they're ecstatic about it, and they just recently put a wall up there for a practice wall, and we're really looking forward to do some programming that up there. Mr. Poach isn't here, but the other thing that we did for the first time here, that's on here, is the cool event, that terrain race we just had in October. I know the mayor participated in it, and
It survived.
and Mr. Poach was there with his, with different staff and stuff, and I was hoping maybe he wanted to elaborate on that, but it was a great success. The weather didn't cooperate.
How many-
did,
how
but
many
it didn't.
participants?
I would say we probably, between the people that came to watch and the participants, roughly around 7,000 people.
Wow.
I would say
Yeah,
between,
considering the crowds. it really-
7,835.
there you go.
Wow.
Good job on that.
So I think it went very well.
Sean Logan said.
Sean Logan told me,
Contacted
that's all I
him, said,
know.
do it again.
Yeah.
Yes, there's been nothing but positive feedback about
Yeah,
that.
it was a great event. Like I said, if the rain just kind of helped, it didn't help with parking for a short period of time, but other than that, I think the road stayed clear. I mean, I can't elaborate on the, people getting hurt or anything like that. I didn't know if Eric wanted to elaborate on that,
Yeah, and
but
we'll bring that up later, because we're going to talk about maybe the next time
Yes.
we might consider this.
yep, and you guys know the dates and stuff like that, so that'd be really a great
Well, along those lines,
opportunity.
Paul, I'm sorry to cut you off. But on revenue for that, like say, since you talked about it, any discussion from the department as far as fluctuating the permit fees for such events?
Yeah,
to
we
rent
did-
the facilities, whether it's for something like that, or the ball fields, or the 5K races,
We've actually increased the rates. If you look in our fee schedule, which is at the very, very beginning of the booklet, the budget book, we did raise our fee schedule pricing. We raised the prices on everything there. So we did do that this year. We raised them up. I'm not sure what the fee schedule, where it's at on there.
We meant to put it in here and we didn't do it.
Yeah, so. But we did do that. If you want to look at it, if you have any
Evaluate
questions,
it.
let us know. We'll gladly address that issue.
So
Go ahead.
We did the courts
Yep.
and all of that from last year's budget. What do you have? Are you going to tell me now?
Yeah, about
Am
this
I-
year for,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it up in
Okay.
under 4,600. So I'll
Okay.
bring that up. So then in regards to, if we go to
45.
4,500, we have
Which
much,
is,
so you're going to be on page 4,500, you're going to be your
77 expenditures.
expenditures is on 77.
okay.
And we don't have any revenue under 77, so, under 4,500.
Okay.
4,500 rate really is just our salaries that we take, for everything there, our longevity. If you look at the different things there, contract services, when Tina brought it up, the rec track does come out of there. The contract services is at 3,500, which is about 3/4 of the way down. That does come out of our budget at once a year for 3,500.
Pretty much everything's the same.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Basically.
We've
Yeah.
really tried to maintain it pretty much there. As far as events, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Actually, last year we rented approximately 700 facilities, which was an increase about 17% from 2018. So more and more people are looking to rent our pavilions, ball fields, amphitheater, whatever. Already this year, we have over 100 pavilions reserved for 2020. So if you want to make your reservation, do it soon.
Yeah.
Also falls under this is the recreation brochure, comes out quarterly. We actually put like a fake one in the back of yours. They're actually being printed right now. They're going to be in the mail to residents next week, no later than Thanksgiving. Everybody will have it. It covers the period of basically the end of December through the end of March. And this is sent to all Monroeville residents, as well as that we have like a base of 400 non-residents to participate in our activities regularly and have asked to be included in that. So,
And just an FYI, I put in here, just for you guys to know, Westport Heritage Trail just completed an additional 3 miles from Murraysville to Export, which now brings us to about 9 miles. You can go from
Is that 3
Trafford
miles
to
long,
Export.
that length right there? I
Yeah,
didn't
it did
realize it was that
3
long.
phase, yeah, so it's pretty nice. I mean,
I've been on it.
it's under 9 miles, but it's, now you can go from Trafford all the way to Export, and pretty easily. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
You have
so.
oxygen stations.
There's
I can't
actually-
go that easily.
Yeah, there's restrooms along the way and everything, yes. And there's a lot of restaurants that are now, they're benefiting out there with the restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard Dick's
Penn
people
Murray.
go for breakfast to Dick's Diner from
Yeah,
Monroe.
yeah,
They
yeah,
just
you-
walk the trail, go
Yeah.
have breakfast.
And you got Penn Murray, which is the old Penn Monroe, which is along there. You can literally walk up the steps and you're at the Penn Murray. And the old Rivertown, which is Helltown,
Helltown now.
you can now
Yeah.
park and go over to Helltown and have a
Oh,
couple
wow.
of beers. So, yeah, DUI on a bike, but hey. So, and that goes with that. Now, 4,600, we'll go right to that one. That's gonna be our expenditures on
page 79.
page 79.
And revenues, page 28. A lot of that with me is the amphitheater. Last year, if you remember, we had the Eagle Scout project. Dino, I apologize, don't remember his last name, helped put in the benches
Yes.
and the steps, and people just love it. It's great for the jazz festival, for Shakespeare, for anything. So what we would like to do is, and in addition to that, we've had a big wedding reception there and a wedding. And we've thought of working on this for the last couple of years. It's just a matter of having the funds to make it happen is making the amphitheater be a wedding venue for larger weddings, since the gazebo only holds like 30, 35 people. So if we have the wedding, if we have the amphitheater for the weddings that are larger, we can, accommodate a lot more people, bring in a lot more money. The wedding reception actually was for a wedding that took place somewhere far away, in a different country. And then they came back and they wanted to have a reception here. So they, as you'll see in the picture, they used the whole amphitheater as a reception hall, set up a little bar up by where we put the equipment for the amphitheater, sound equipment, and they had a great time. Just recently, we had a previous summer employee got married there, him and his wife on the stage. So, I mean, it has a lot of potential. We'd like to get more benches in.
Notice your special events came down 10,000. What caused that?
So what happened here is, this is that UPMC that we received for the performance series, and that's the reason why you see the difference. It's a $10,000.
Correct.
Is what that is.
Sorry, Joanne, I didn't mean.
That's
to-
okay.
That's okay.
It's
No,
okay.
no, we were gonna bring that up to you, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's what that is. So that'll actually go back in there. It looks different because an expenditure and the revenue, but it should equal out. And I have something else on that. As soon as she's done, I'll talk to you about that.
Again, like we were saying about the performance series, we appreciate the continual support of UPMC. I just heard back today from Sean Logan that UPMC is already committed to 2020 for the performance series. So it's good to know we already have that covered. Again, we continue to bring in decent groups, in my opinion, that draw larger and larger crowds. So it's a good thing.
How about bringing in more food trucks? Everyone seems to like that.
We
like the
could.
Community days.
The only thing is, right now, I use the soccer club. They come and they provide the food, and it's a fundraiser for them. So, I mean, we can do the food trucks, we just have to have things that they don't sell.
What we're
Like
finding too is
lobster rolls?
with the
We
with the
could.
food truck, they want large amounts of people. They want to be able to, like for the Monroeville Foundation event.
Yeah, the
It was a
community
great
days
event for
was-
that because
Yeah.
there was a lot of people, and that's why the food trucks were so successful. It seems like they don't like the smaller events of like 200, 300
And we can't
people.
guarantee, I mean, we get, some performances 250, other ones 2,000. But I can't guarantee that you're gonna have that kind of crowd.
Right.
So,
So, Mr. Harvey, we were asking is, like, we'll see under the revenue, it goes from 105,000 down to 40. And the reason why that is under the grants, that money was in there for the last project for the courts.
What page you on?
I was on page 28.
28.
You can see now it went from 2019 revised budget's 105,000, and now it's down to 40,000. And the reason why is we were able to put money in there to help pay for an Allegheny County CITF grant. I do say that we do need to add in $75,000 into that line item now, because what Linda asked about, I just had Tim sign off on a grant for Evergreen Park for the playground. So that whole playground is going to be completely redone, the entire park. Benches,
I thought they just did work up at Evergreen.
huh?
Didn't they just do work up at Evergreen?
No, we just did some small little things,
Oh.
repairing the timbers and stuff like that. So Tim just actually signed off on this grant, and I actually have a paper, if you don't mind, I'll pass around to you,
Yeah.
for you guys to sign as part of the grant, but we just got it yesterday. Tim signed it today, if you want to
All the
elaborate on that.
council members and the mayor after, you should sign that.
Yeah, so you guys who don't mind just signing this while we're going around, and you have to put in blue pen, that's a key thing.
Mine's blue.
We can thank-
Interestingly enough,
We can thank Senator
I,
Brewster.
I brought my blue pen tonight.
Thank Senator Brewster's office
And this will be,
for the
this is
grant.
what, not, this work won't be till spring, in the spring?
Correct,
or-
because it's an 8-week lead time, and then talking to Mike Strom, as far as that goes, it probably makes more sense to do it in the spring.
What exactly are they getting done?
So we're doing a complete playground for all ages in a swing, the swings, a structure, a play structure for
Nice.
3 to 5s, a structure for 6 to 12, a tire swing, picnic,
bench.
benches, trash receptacles, the whole thing's
whole
getting
thing.
be done, all new mulch, everything's being done under this grant.
Great.
So, yeah.
Blue, make sure you're on blue.
Also under this department comes Camp Chippewa. Our special needs camp ran for 6 weeks this summer. We had about 140 registrations. You know, it's one of the few camps like this still in the Pittsburgh area. We get kids not only from Monroeville, but from other areas, just trying to find something to do a little different than schoolwork during the summer. So it's a great asset to the community. I'm a little not sure yet what we're going to do Fridays, but we'll work that out as it comes along.
A quick question. I see under your medical supplies, do we have the heart starters,
They're not coming
Yeah,
till
AED.
pump
the
starters
spring.
up there?
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, they're not
Joe?
coming till the spring, right?
I'm saying, but we're going to have them.
Yeah, we're gonna next year.
Yeah, Joe and I just talked about that last week or the week before,
Yeah.
and they're not coming actually till the spring now.
So how many are we gonna have? That's,
So we have
Two or
two at the
three.
community park, one at each concession stand, and
At
we
least
actually
two.
have two, plus we have the one from the pool, and now that one will be available to go somewhere too.
oh, okay.
So we'll actually have three now around the parks.
Thank you.
Also under this comes special events. We do a number of them throughout the year. We had the Easter egg hunt, the first National Kids to Park Day in May. We had some like performers and little things down at the Amphitheater. Unfortunately, it fell on Kennywood Day, but it is what it is. We had our Trail of Treats recently in the rain. I've been trying to make that happen for 3 years, and we still ended up with like 500 people. So it was a good event to have. I can only imagine if the weather was good, what we'd have.
you're saying?
Still upcoming this year, we have Snacks with Santa, scheduled for Saturday, December 7th, number 4 Fire Hall. Santa will be
read the
there
same.
to get kids lists. We'll have crafts, we'll have refreshments. It's a fun day for the family. Dress up, take your picture for free.
What time is that?
10 to 12.
On the 7th.
Thank
We
On the
also-
7th?
On the
From 10 to
7th.
12? Okay.
And we also have a gingerbread contest in conjunction to that. We have a category for children as well as adults. And it's kind of a nice decoration as well as people enjoy participating in it. We've had as many as, I'd say 15, 20 gingerbread houses.
Nice.
So it's a nice little added thing as well. We also,
47, okay, go ahead.
we also do community outreach. I go to a lot of different things throughout the year to make people aware of the recreation department. I have a booth at Community Day, National Night Out. I participate at the library. And upcoming here next weekend, the weekend of the 16th, we'll be participating in the Chamber of Commerce's Healthy Holidays at Monroeville Mall.
4,700, expenditures is on page 81, with our revenues on revenue page 28, but 81 is the expenditures. Not much change there whatsoever. We're actually have lowered it. We went from 106, I think, to 101, so everything's pretty much the same in that department.
It basically covers our leisure learning classes. We continue to have a good relationship with Gateway School District as far as using their facilities for the pool and different classes, as well as we use the park. We've been using the municipal building for some classes, as well as some of the subcontractors like CS Kim have been using their own site to hold their classes. So we have a good working relationship with everybody. We have people from 6 months to 85 participate, 85 years, so it's a growing entity for the municipality. We also have our summer day camp. Summer day camp ran for 10 weeks this year. We had about 350 participants. The only change has happened is in 2018, the Visitors Bureau sold their bus that we used for our field trips. It was a good deal for us. You know, and now we have to use a school bus, not quite as glamorous. The kids haven't complained. The only downside is it's almost triple the fee to use the school bus as it was to use the Visitors Bureau bus.
Have you adjusted your weekly fees to the?
I have adjusted them, as well as the other positive thing is we're able to get more people on a school bus than we were on the visitors bus, so it kind of helps out there as well.
And we did raise the fees for that again.
To cover the cost?
And then on this page, the salaries and wages, would that just be for the camp counselors?
It's for the, yes, for 4,700.
Not the instructor, not the
The
instructor?
instructors is
No, that's
also
under,
too. 4,700? Oh, we didn't go to 47 yet.
Consultants.
Yeah, it's under consultants.
Yeah.
So 4,700, the 308, excuse me, expenditures, I said the wrong one.
No problem, page 81, so the 4,700.
The consultants come under
2110.
2110, yeah.
But then that gets,
Then you have temporary.
that gets washed out or gets reimbursed from the
We
revenue
get,
side.
yes. We-
Because that's not really, they're getting paid essentially out of the registration fees.
Yep,
Correct.
they're all covered
Correct.
cost.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
They're covered.
Whereas the 1,300, the salary, that's the
Those
camp
are actual
counselors.
That's camp
employees,
counselors,
yes.
Those are actual
employees,
employees.
yes.
Yes, yes.
So over, like swim instructors, camp counselors, everything comes out of the first one, salary, wages. The consultants is like a CS Kim. Or a,
Correct.
they're the outside consultant. Yeah,
somebody
different.
like that.
Paul, why did your rent of building structures or rooms drop?
We don't have anything that we rent anymore, basically. We have one location, Sunrise School, we use as a backup. So we really don't have to rent any more facilities. We still use
Thanks.
Sunrise. There is some expense there, but it's very minimal anymore. So it was just worth dropping.
How are we doing with like the fields? Like, I know there's softball, there's baseball, there's the intercoastal baseball,
Yep.
all these leagues are coming in, as well as our own kids in Monroeville. How are we doing with all that?
Doing well. I mean, so our number, we have, again, as far as putting it in so it can be, we always say we're gonna put a separate line item, and we didn't do it this year. It's in, and I promise I'll get it in there. I'll give you a breakdown of it, if you don't mind. I'll just email all of you separately.
That's fine.
With it, so you can see what the number is, plus we're receiving another check for the fall games, and also we're receiving a fee for the cool events. We're also gonna be receiving a fee for that.
So those figures aren't in, like, under ball field rental?
Right, exactly, because they're under pavilion, underneath the,
That comes in under pavilions?
yeah,
Okay.
and I want to break it out.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, that should be broken.
I
out.
know, I said it last year, we should have done it, and
Yeah.
I
I just
think we
realized.
could do that this year.
Well, it's
because
under, what happened was the rec truck got updated this year with the help of Tina. It was awesome that we got up, and the codes kind of got screwed up a little bit. So we just have to recode that to be a separate line item,
Okay.
okay?
Well,
And it's just a mistake.
Swap
that
up tomorrow
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep,
That'd be helpful. That
Yep.
way we can-
Josie, she can get it done like that.
and our last one again is 4,900. We can just move forward with that, so there's not much to talk about there.
Well, I
unless-
don't know, Tim,
it's time.
this is a piece of it, and that's is the poll. We talked about where this eventually is gonna go forward. I mean, you talked about it.
Well, as far as the swimming pool end
Yes.
of it, I mean, it basically would be a wash.
Right.
Although we did subsidize the swimming pool, $10,000, $15,000, maybe, depending on the weather and how much revenue we took in. The last couple of years, obviously, we've had a lot of rain, so we haven't taken in as much revenue. We may have last year, I don't know about this year, I think we may have subsidized the pool $20,000. You wash all that out, you're probably gonna gain $15,000. Okay, which will filter down to the fund balance.
Right, okay. So, for that, I mean, be sure that everybody's clear with that. As we move forward with planning on how we're going to, formulate the rest of the, let's use the term aquatics programs for the next year or so, we've used this sort of as our planning number, as it exists right now, as a thought, moving forward, but that's not exactly how it's going to be listed. We just wanted to be clear with that as well, too. So, doesn't mean anything's going away from what we're doing.
Right,
It's just
the
how it's going
money's
to be.
staying there, we just got to figure it right.
That's right. It's going to be, the accounting process is going to be just a little bit different to make it clear, okay? So, I mean, I think this is as good a time as any to bring that point back up, okay, too, so. All right,
Okay.
guys, thank you so much.
Anything else?
Counsel?
Nope.
I'm good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Oops.
Nicole Henline, Library.
I guess they're gonna have a wish list too, right, in this capital thing that we haven't seen yet.
Hello.
Okay,
Yeah. Or it's what we give them.
well, I know, but I wanna see the wish list.
No, we'll make, no,
Yay.
right, well,
Yeah.
Good thing the IT person's here.
somebody's going to ask.
Convenient.
So that
That's
we know
what
that
Joe
it's
gave me
still
work.
existing, that point.
What numbers?
Nicole, what page would we be looking at for the
99.
expenditures?
99.
99.
I just want to take a minute to thank council, the mayor, the manager, the library board, and all municipal employees for their continued support of the library. And I'd like to take a moment to tell you about some of the things that have happened in the past year and what the library has been doing in service to the community thanks to your contributions. And Joe helped me set up this laptop that he's now going to magically put on the screen. Thank you, Joe. The library has always been a great equalizer, a place where everyone can access knowledge and information no matter their situation or background. That trend has continued and expanded beyond just traditional books. Knowledge is now hands-on and exploratory. We've embraced that and are helping to train the leaders of tomorrow by providing programming and outreach in science and technology. The library is still that place where you can find a copy of your favorite classic or newest James Patterson, but it's also a place where families can meet for playtime, kids can learn to code, adults can attend lectures on important and interesting topics, and seniors can access one-on-one assistance with computers and other gadgets. And that's just a taste of what we're able, with your support and that of the community, to offer. Some people still ask, why do we need a library when we have smartphones and Google? I have two answers for them. The first is a quote by author Neil Gaiman. Google can bring you back 100,000 answers. A librarian can bring you back the right one. In a time when we're inundated with so much information, it's important for community members to have a resource where they know they can seek information and assistance that will be valid. The second answer is that in a continually digital time, people want a place to create community. The library, much like the senior center and the parks, offers that type of space. People can gather to discuss current issues, listen to music, dance, sing, create, and explore. It's a place to connect face to face, a place that offers welcome and community to all. We're fortunate, with your support and our amazing staff, to be able to offer a wide variety of programs, services, and materials. The first slide shows some of our most popular programs from 2018, including Girls Who Code, Story Time, Soul Line Dancing, the Star Party, Kindergarten Readiness, and these are just a few of the hundreds of programs we offer each year. In 2018, 21,124 community members attended 1,025 programs. That was an increase of 158% in attendance over the past 5 years. We're on track to increase that number even more for 2019. Next, you can see our circulation numbers. And these are the items that get checked out of the library each year. As you can see, there's been a 29% increase in the past 5 years, with a 9% increase in just this past year. In Allegheny County, out of 46 libraries, we had the 4th largest increase. And that's a great thing, because this circulation number, like your support, translates into the Regional Asset District formula to bring more money back into our community that we can use here for our community members. Next, you can see our door count. We had over 165,000 visitors last year, with an increase of 16% over 5 years. The next slide shows a few of the grants, gifts, and awards we've been honored to receive in the past year. We were awarded a Family Place grant worth $18,000, which will help our library to become a stronger resource for families. We were thrilled when Monroeville was chosen as the location for the 2021 statewide library conference. I personally was honored and honestly slightly terrified to have been voted second vice chair of the association, which will make me the chair of the conference in Monroeville. My staff and I are excited to show off what Monroeville has to offer and work with our colleagues to ensure a high quality conference for several hundred attendees. The next slide shows some of the new services, partnerships, and projects that we have in the works. We've increased our community partnerships, including taking programming to 30% more classrooms and daycares, and we are currently working with the Allegheny County Library Association to pilot a program that pairs libraries with social work interns to better serve our community, especially those most vulnerable members. And as you know, we have two funding streams. The majority of our support comes from you at the municipality, and the other includes our support from the county, state, and local library fundraising and grants. From this second stream, we were able to save the municipality a bit of capital money by taking on these projects with the alternative funding. In the past few years, that has included the elevator, which is finally done, and a new boiler, an air handler, and with a bequest, we were also able to add a room that's available for more programs and community meetings. The next slide is probably the most important and my favorite, the return on investment. And the library is one of the best deals in town. For each dollar invested into the library in 2018, $4.52 worth of services is returned to the community. And that's a 69% increase since 2014. The large blue circle indicates the value of the services provided in the year. The yellow circle shows the municipal, or shows all of the library investment. And then the green circle shows municipal investment, and the orange state and county. The last slide answers a question that I get frequently: which money goes where? Your municipal investment provides staff, benefits, utilities, some building maintenance, and some contract services, including janitorial and HVAC. The non-municipal contributions go towards everything else: the materials that we lend on a daily basis, programs, continuing education to help us learn how to better serve our community, office supplies, furniture, PR, and our computer leases. And lastly, I want to remind you and thank you, because your municipal investment that has been consistent leverages county investment in the library and community as well. And hopefully someday soon, as the state did increase for the first time in 12 years, we will also be able to say that your contributions leverage state money as well. So hopefully that day is coming soon. The budget before you on pages 99 and 101 is presented to you with the support of the library's council-appointed governing board, and we believe that this is the budget that will help us to offer the best programming, services, and materials that we can to the community.
I think that's right.
And will allow us to continue being a vital part of the community. And I put the wrong page numbers on my PowerPoint, so.
No, that is right.
No, that is
Oh,
right.
that is right.
That
I
is
said
right.
the
You
wrong
said it
ones.
wrong.
Yeah, you got it wrong. Yeah, that's right, Nicole.
It is right.
Couldn't be right both ways. And please do let me know what questions I can answer.
I have one quick one.
Yes.
On page 99, it's under the printing. The printing went from 0, then in 19 actual, it's 9,000, then it's back to 0, and then now it's 20,000.
This is under 99 or 101?
On page 99.
99.
It's 2304.
Fourth item down, printing.
Oh, I don't have that. Do I have the wrong?
You have a wrong page?
8,200?
Oh, 8,200.
Maybe you're later wrong.
These,
2304.
somehow these page numbers are wrong in the one I have.
8,200 and then item 2304.
Okay. I am so sorry.
You don't see it?
No, I
Here.
don't have the right.
Here.
I'm so sorry, I thought I had everything.
Why is it not coming up?
I don't know.
Oh, because I'm trying to look things up in that instead. Look how simple that works.
Okay, the 2304, the reason for that is previously it was part of, we had a third budget line. So we had a 2,100, an 8,100, 8,200, and 8,300.
Okay.
And last year we moved everything from 8,300 back to 8,200.
So you took out, when you took out the state last year,
Right.
yeah, okay, I remember.
And I do also believe that there is another number that says printing that we have used, and that might have made it confusing. Because one of them just says printing and one of them says printing and PR. We use that line that says printing for printing and PR.
Okay, nonetheless, What do you print?
Yeah,
this
what's the $20,000 cost of printing? Like, do you send out brochures? Is it advertising, for events? What is the,
Some of it is from our just newsletters that we send out every month. Some of it is part of, oh goodness, I usually bring a list of everything, and I didn't this time. That also is for anything, we have banners sometimes. That also goes for any PR costs of appearing if we buy a table, and things along those lines.
okay, so it's like that packet that you bring us every month that says all the programming and okay,
Yes.
all right.
You don't
Yeah, the
mail
pa-
that out, do
I
you?
cut-
No, we do not mail that out.
Yeah, no, that's just, okay, that's why I wondered why it was like 0 and then all of a sudden 20,000. I figured it had to be
Yes, I think it's because it was under
the way it was
the
before.
8,300.
Yeah,
You're saying under those other sections, it should be gone.
Correct. Correct.
okay.
And did that also include some of the advertising, the paid-for advertising, as opposed to the stuff that's also, like, the Times Express runs?
Yes, we also do a little bit of paid advertising in things such as in Monroeville. And we have a screen that shows around, it's Town Vision, I believe.
Okay.
So those kinds of advertising
Okay.
things.
I just wondered where it came from. It was like all of a
That's-
sudden,
From 8,300.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I answer any other questions?
Nope.
Doing great.
Council, anything else? And then the ACLA from the county, that is reflected in the revenue side, that offsets the,
Correct. Everything under that 8,200 is covered by revenue that is not municipal.
yeah, so that page we're talking about,
We just hand
We-
it.
we-
Gaver?
Yeah,
the one you
Yes.
gave her,
yeah.
we get reimbursed by the county for that exact same amount.
Right.
This whole page?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the ACLA.
Page
That's
99.
why it's
Yep.
in a revenue.
Are we even
format.
talking about?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Nicole, sometimes
Like
we,
you said, it's tax money wherever.
I mean, it is.
It
it's
is.
tax money,
Yes.
we were looking at, but I
And
think
we
the
wanna-
challenge has always been to, it's taken me, 2 years to understand the darn formula that goes with that. It's a very complicated piece, but the things that have been positive have been people in the door, programs and deliveries, circulation, all those things. And then this year, there was an increase due to the municipal contribution from last year. So that's the short version of it. So
Yeah.
it ends up, when we had an increase and have had those increases, the library ends up with more money, too, in terms of reimbursement to it. So it's the formula is really a whole lot of math.
It's 46 libraries, so you have to take into consideration what everyone else has increased as well, and it's very complicated, but it does allow us, because of your consistent contributions and because of our increased circulation and increased door count, we have been able to bring in a little bit more there. That was what helped us to do the teen after-school program.
So Nicole, population doesn't go into that formula.
It does.
Areas of service, yeah.
It does, but it's a smaller proportion.
Okay.
I can share the formula with you. It's,
Oh, I've seen it before. It is a complicated formula. It's more so what the municipality puts into is probably the biggest variable.
right, because it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how much you have increased. It has to do with how much we have increased in comparison to the other 46 libraries. So,
And that 2020 figure on the revenue side for the ACLA, that is the exact figure we're receiving.
correct. And the reason the books go up is because we have to spend 12% of our budget on materials every year to receive state aid. So that number always goes up.
And then I do have one last question about circulation.
Yes.
So if someone downloads an ebook through Overdrive?
Yes.
Does that count towards your circulation?
It does indeed.
Okay, so
Yes.
as long as someone is registering Overdrive through the Monroeville Library?
Yes. As long as you have your Monroeville Library card and that's how you signed into Overdrive the first time, anytime you borrow an ebook or e-audiobook, it counts.
Okay, very good.
Anything else?
Questions, council?
No, I think some of
Thank
the
you
boards
all.
here this
Thank you
evening,
so
thank
much.
you, guys. I appreciate it, guys, as well.
Okay, Next, we have finally for this budget hearing, our tax office. Our tax collector, Mr. Pat Fulkerson, and Liz Summer.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Pat.
Good evening.
Best for last, right?
Where the money comes from.
She's
That's
tough to
short.
follow, that's all I gotta
She-
say.
She does a
Does she?
fine job.
You got all the money, that's all that counts.
Someone's got to pay for it.
Well, you can contract, Pat, with the library for, presentation technology.
she's-
You go right,
She's fantastic.
it'll work on the revenue side, so happy to share that, to do that.
She does a, that
does do a
library
good
has
job.
improved ever since she came on board.
Well, that's when the numbers went
I
up, that's why I
wanna
said
say
when she
that-
started. Very impressive.
Thank you, that's
This
very
has been
kind.
impressive.
Kind of you to say.
It's been a great department. Anyway, we're going to go on page 13 and page 25. And before I want to get into it, I want to tell you we had another banner year.
Wait, 25,
We have been over $1 million the last 4 years of a surplus. And I want to thank my department. That department has been an asset to municipalities. I have people coming in my office and outside my office and has thanked me for the employees that are there. They're an asset to the community and to us. They're knowledgeable, understanding, and they're kind. They just do a good job, and I want to recognize them as Carol, Kathleen, Doug, and Liz. They're just a terrific group of people, and I'm just a backstab, just a department head, and they do all of the major work, and they do a fine job. That's what I wanted to get, and I thank you people for listening to me on that.
Thank you for putting that in the minutes.
Yes.
They're all paying attention.
That's all right. I don't mind. I think, and I want to thank council for giving us the resources to do what we do. And that's the same as the library department. You guys, we don't have the resources, we don't do the job. And I want to thank you for giving us the resources to do it. And that's why we're going to talk about the budget. And basically, in revenue side, we're about the same as we were the prior year. Liz, you want to go into these things?
I just wrote myself some notes, but I didn't know if there were,
Are there any concerns on the revenue side? If there's,
Pat, what, over the past 4 or 5 years since we hired Douglas and Liz?
Liz has always been there, but.
Yeah, well, but how much do you think has been collected from delinquent
Well,
fees?
I have some statistics that I was
Go
gonna,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna go over this little piece of information and then, if somebody has questions about what I have.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
put together some statistics, so, because I like numbers. But anyway, I do thank you also for including us in the discussion of the budget. Our expenses have remained pretty consistent over the last several years, but I wanted to point out that about 25% of our budget, our expenses, is paid from commissions and costs that Gateway, Wilkins, and Pitcairn contribute to our budget. So when you look at what is on here, as far as the department, 25% of that gets reimbursed on the through the revenue side or through our work, through what we do for those other communities. Or
Because we collect our,
we collect their taxes, right? So, it's really a win-win situation because they probably couldn't pay another collector what they pay us and do the auditing and the
is
services.
it worth it on our side?
yes.
Yeah, it is.
It keeps our costs down.
It's saving on our costs because we have to do the job either way. And then on the other side, they're getting auditing services for free. I shouldn't say for free, but other collection
A lot less than
firms
they
don't
could.
do auditing at all. So
Exactly.
we're offering that in part with what we do. And that keeps our costs low. It generates revenue for them. So that's what I had to say about expenses. And then on the revenue side, we continue to uncover unpaid, underpaid tax revenues from primarily the business community. The earned income tax, is through Keystone. So we have the local services tax and the business and mercantile license and tax, and then the trade shows. We also get
How
revenue
much is our
from that.
tax office involved in the collection of back taxes
What,
for the other communities?
For other communities, we collect all of their business privilege, mercantile licenses, as well.
yeah, we charge them 10% of what we find
Well, we
Yeah.
get 2%, yeah, I mean, we,
for the delinquent.
there's a formula involved.
Yes.
Let's just leave it at that.
That's
So,
okay, yeah.
And you
Yeah.
feel that's at this point fair?
It's very
a fair fee?
competitive. I mean,
Are
we
we,
could,
are we
we might be under,
giving too much away? Or providing a service for a discounted rate?
I
yeah.
was talking to Liz.
We were discussing
We were,
Something to discuss
yeah, we're
with you
Yeah.
discussing.
a little, and if
We
that's
were-
something we need to
And we'll
reevaluate.
bring,
Yeah.
we were just discussing that today, and we're gonna
Down the
discuss it
fees we
more.
get from them for doing that service,
well,
it's probably still profitable.
I was just gonna
Oh, yeah.
say, in our revenues, there's a PSD commissions page, revenue page 25, and it's 307. You can see those are strictly commissions on the revenue we process. And that's how all the other agencies, when you get your EIT reports, they charge us a fee. This is along the same lines of what you would see if you were looking at another collection firm. But in addition to that, there's line 17, which is costs recovered by the tax office, which, well, wait a minute, that's not it. Wait, cost of collections, I'm sorry, line 25, we moved that into its own line.
75,000.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry,
it's
line
20.
25, there's
Alright.
another 18,000 as
Oh,
of
okay.
September, there was 37,000. That line should reflect, and I'm not sure it's, all those years are accurate, but there's roughly around a $20,000 revenue there. And what happens is, when we send out notices to an account, we give them a reminder. If we have to go to the next step, then we charge them a fee, because now we have to investigate owners, and there's all kinds of research goes on. And then when we go to the magistrate, there's all those fees. So when we get reimbursed, some of that is strictly revenue for our time. So it's like a billable hour, but it's built in. And we have a fixed fee schedule that we send them, so they know before they get charged how much it's going to be if they ignore our notices. So we're very upfront with it, and we make every effort to avoid going to the magistrate, because it's a hassle, truthfully. But those revenues are revenues that we keep.
So the fee schedule, is that something that fluctuates year to year, or has
It's
that been
an
the same?
ordinance that was established, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's used for grass cutting and other, it's not
Yeah,
just the tax office that uses that fee schedule.
Okay, so it's a fee schedule.
It's a fee
Right.
schedule that's by ordinance.
Okay.
And we
And you
send
should
them a copy
always-
of it.
You should always look at the fee schedules and see if it's really reasonable
Yeah.
at this period of time.
Right,
Right,
Because,
that's kind of what I'm saying.
yes, you're right.
Change every time.
No, you're correct.
Right.
right.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, and we should
Well, I
look
know
at
the court fees and things are set by
Yeah.
Allegheny County or the
Right.
magistrate. Those are fixed, not by us, but we
But
charge.
late charges and stuff like that, that's in
Yeah.
our fee schedule, we
Mhm.
can,
Right,
okay,
we should look
adjust
at
those.
it. We should.
Right.
We should take a
And
look at
then
this.
we should make an ordinance and say what it is.
Yeah, so it's the auditing that makes us
Yeah,
such a
that's-
success.
That is, that's
You know,
the key.
we find on average 300 accounts each year that are new, that we didn't know about or have moved into the municipality. You know, we do auditing, which nobody else does.
Yeah.
We used to audit EIT when we did EIT. That doesn't
But
happen
now
anymore.
Keystone has that,
Nobody,
right?
nobody does it. It
They
doesn't,
don't do
it's
it
not
either.
required under Act 32. So, yeah, they have ways of billing, but they don't actually audit. I mentioned last year when I was up here that $50,000 to $60,000 of local services tax revenue that we audited was paid to another community, and we got it back to Monroeville.
As you can see in your budget on page 25, look at that Keystone and what they have done for delinquent.
Yeah,
We have done more on the real estate side delinquent than they have on EIT.
Yeah.
$86,000 is not a reasonable number for delinquent
Yeah.
as
When
earned income tax.
Our collections were, a lot of it, when we did it in-house, were quarterly self-pay, and now the employer withholds, which would make that number fluctuate a bit. But there are many, many, many people that are self-employed that have to pay on other income that needs pursued. And of course, businesses that may or may not be filing on behalf of their employees. So there's a bunch of money out there, I'm sure,
Yeah.
If you were aggressive.
if you wanted to be aggressive.
Do we do the same for the communities we collect for? We go after people?
Yes.
that-
Yes,
yeah.
we do. We go to the magistrate on behalf of Wilkins and Pitcairn. That's correct.
I think at this time I wanted to put in the solicitor has helped us since he's been on board a lot.
Well, I'm sure it makes your services worth it to them by doing that.
Yeah.
Well, we've streamlined things, and again, the solicitor's fees that are incurred get passed on to the
Yeah.
taxpayer.
Yes. and
Once
so
we
it
collect
doesn't-
on that.
Well,
It
that's
does.
kind of where I was headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It isn't
right.
like a freebie, and his costs will go against if we collect the money. Sometimes we
One
don't
thing you
collect the money.
mentioned
Well,
about
it's
the
when-
one thing
Yeah.
Pat mentioned, I think council should know, and maybe they probably do know, is you mentioned about how the EIT delinquent, and there's Senate bill, what's the number of the Senate bill for the mercantile tax to collect that statewide?
You talk about local services tax that is.
Was that the
is-
local, no, I thought
It was local services tax. They want to try and consolidate that, and there's a lot of opposition because for the same reason, nobody's required to audit. It's not in the bill.
Right.
And you're going to lose. And then the money goes where the employer tells the collector to send it, and no one's looking to see if those codes are correct. We look at that.
I thought there was a Senate bill also for the mercantile tax.
That was,
I thought that was defeated.
well, actually, the time lapsed, I don't know if I have the right
Yeah.
language, but basically,
Yeah.
the time lapsed on it.
On
They
for the-
reintroduced a
okay.
new bill. The new bill did not include the business privilege and mercantile because we lobbied so strongly. They're so apples and oranges from, it's nothing like a payroll
And
withholding.
it goes to the delinquent collection, and what you guys have done in a tax office with respect to mercantile business tax proves a point, about the auditing and the money you brought in on that. And if you had the wage tax, you can go back through and see the wage tax on delinquents. And wage tax, a delinquent is difficult to collect. That's probably the one I'm most.
It's actually not as hard as,
It's
the mercantile.
right,
That's
exactly,
true. Well,
because
that's
there's
true,
it's a
yeah,
payroll, it's a
yeah.
garnishment against your wages. Once you know where someone's working, you just tack
It
it
isn't,
onto
it's easy to collect things in volume, as any business wants to
Right.
do, they want to do volume, and that's
They
understandable.
want the low-hanging
Yeah,
fruit.
Right,
Just
the
take
low-hanging
Everybody wants
fruit.
low-hanging fruit and
Exactly.
the easy,
When you have
so-
to get into taking people to the magistrate, the labor
Yeah.
intensive
Correct.
stuff, that's when it gets more difficult.
Correct. But there's money there. So-
The fees that you charge, are they consistent with the fees that a normal accounting firm would charge?
Right, yes,
when you
we
compare-
do not gouge and we.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
I wasn't implying that.
Right, but I say that because I do see there's percentages added on to other collection firms. They add a percentage of the unpaid balance, and sometimes the fees are more than the tax. The interest, the penalty, the charges add up to more than the tax. We try to avoid that. One of the problems we have is we have some difficult taxpayers that we've been pursuing for several years, and yes, once it starts accruing, it can become more than the tax. We try not to do that, but it's on them. It's not like they didn't know.
Their decision.
It was their decision.
But we try not to gouge businesses in Monroeville.
It's,
And we are a friendly group. We try to do is what is fair for everyone and not going out to gouge just one business, because it's not fair. You want businesses to stay, and you want to be fair with the way you collect your taxes to them. So,
All you have to do is look at the income pie chart and see where the money comes from, and it's not us. We're just a little sliver. Businesses are paying the bill.
they are,
yeah, this is a
that's,
huge.
that's why we
It would
want to
be
be
huge to
friendly.
replace, I know Scranton has just put on their election ballot this week, they asked the public if the school district could switch to a payroll tax. That doesn't mean they're going to do it, they still have to go through legislation. That was an idea that, of course, the city of Pittsburgh does have, but no one else can have it at this time. But in 2008, I know we looked at that, whether that was going to be worthy. It's just a shift, to be honest with you. It is a shift, so.
The reason the city has it is because they're under that Act,
47.
Well, they were under Act 42 and they were distressed, and then that was part of the package of them becoming more, solvent, so. But in all essence, it was revenue neutral was what it had to be.
Right.
So when they did that, and Scranton will have to do the same thing. They'll have to make it revenue neutral.
Some people pay more, some people pay less.
Correct.
So
But-
there's winners
no,
and
no,
losers
but-
both ways.
But when you're looking at that aspect, you're looking at what do you want in the community? Do you want businesses that have a lot of employees? Because if you have a payroll tax, they're probably going to move out. Versus a business has fewer employees but higher revenue, then the mercantile and business privilege works better. So you have to look at what your business base is and what kind of traffic you have, traffic flow for the employees and things. And just a note about the payroll tax, it does not impact at all nonprofit organizations. So none of the hospitals, none of that, and that was one of the caveats when Pittsburgh adopted it. They didn't gain anything from the universities or the hospitals or anything, which is a huge piece for them.
Especially for them.
Yeah, so looking at that, you always have to consider that that's not going to help you with the nonprofits. So back to auditing, like I said, it makes us distinguished. Some statistics I wanted to share with you was our budget revenue for, and I'm just talking about Act 511, which is mercantile business privilege, the license. I'm not going to talk about, like the real estate's under its own law, but we had a 7% increase in our revenue. So as we've made money over these years, our budget's gone up, but yet we still exceeded the budget by 1.5 million. By the end of this year, it'll be 1.5 million in excess revenue in addition to what the budget was set at with that increase. So in the past 5 years, it's been a 5.7 million windfall that we've been able to give you. It's over $1 million each year, roughly. So,
very good.
yeah, it's great. Our tax office cost is about 2% of the revenue we collect. And if you look at what your contracts are with what other communities are charged by the collection agencies, it's right in line with that or less. Some of the firms will charge you for printing, for postage. This 2% is including everything that, our staff, our healthcare, everything. So we're right in line with what you would get if you hired an outside firm. The difference is outside firms don't have the auditing, so if you wanted to get somebody to audit for you, it's roughly 20 to 25% of whatever they collect. And we're not charging, that's part of our budget. We don't have that as an overage. And then the 2019 auditing revenues, and this wasn't an easy number to come up with, but we took the time to put together how much of our revenue is strictly from going to the magistrate, settling court cases that have been outstanding. One was outstanding for 5 years, we just settled on this year. And then finding these underpaid and people that weren't reported at all. It was 18% of the revenue that you see in this budget. Without that, it'd be 18% lower. And it's 4% of the entire municipal budget in auditing. So we've exceeded expectations. I'm happy with what we're doing. So.
I think we're happy with
One
what
question into your expenses, Pat. Are you adding a person?
No, that'll go with, that's a
Josie, we
mistake.
mentioned that to Josie today.
That was a mistake. Don't even go
Temporary
there yet.
employees.
The 0 to 29,000?
Yeah.
That was,
That was just a,
Scratch that?
yeah, scratch
yeah,
it.
it should be included with the number
Yeah,
above.
yeah.
Okay.
I talked to her, we talked to her already.
Yeah,
Total's correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
that-
Yeah.
Well,
some-
the total is 277,791, which is slightly more than the 2019 of 272,924. It was just a
Yeah, when we do the budget.
data
in-
error.
In August, we put in numbers in all these columns, and then whenever all the calculations are done, the payroll and benefits get
Put in.
corrected to actual. So
Yeah.
we do put numbers in there, but then they change between when we do them and when it gets to this point.
So we don't put them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, so we hope we're able to, continue the vision that council has with the revenue we're collecting. And we'll continue to do that. So, is there any other questions?
Ever since, one last statement, ever since new council have taken over, from when we had the old council 7 years ago, 6 years ago, that's when the income went down because of certain things that they were trying to manipulate. Now, with this new council and with your support to us, we have done a banner. We've done great. And that's what I want to make sure that you all understand, that we appreciate you. And I thank you for supporting us.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
Sure.
So council, that ends the department head presentations for this evening. There's going to be more next Thursday, November 14th at 6:30 PM is our next budget hearing. Is there any, right now, council, any discussion about the budget at this point?
Not right now.
Not right now, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
I just have one.
Go ahead, Mr. Harvey.
Sorry to hold everybody up. Tim, is there going to be, are you eventually, ultimately going to present a capital budget?
Yeah, we're working on that right now. We're working on the capital budget right now, and hopefully we'll get that to you within the next couple months.
The only reason why I ask is recently it's come to my attention, both for what I do and up here on council, that I don't think we remembered to put into the capital budget that you might want to consider. The Opticom controlling system for the traffic signals is outdated, and for the emergency vehicles to get around town and change the lights, they're telling me that they can't even get the parts for our system out there right now. They're lucky to keep what we have functioning, and I think we should seriously look into a new system.
A whole new Opticom system. Yeah, one of the most difficult part of putting a capital budget together is getting at least a kind of a ballpark figure of what you're going to put in there. You have a 5-year capital improvement program, and you put something in here for 2023. You put that number in there, you've got to estimate for inflation and at least get a ballpark figure. Those are the things right now that, are putting together, like, Paul, you're talking about an Opticon system, and I don't know if Pat would look into that, or Mr. Hugus, you listening?
I'm writing some notes.
And, but that's one of the things right now is trying to get the prices together for everything.
Yeah, I'm just saying that unless you respond to emergency calls, you probably have very little appreciation for the Opticom traffic system that's out there, except for that you probably yell at it when an emergency vehicle is coming up and you were about to get the green and it turns it red.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it starts the cycle all over again after the emergency vehicle goes through. But for those emergency vehicles to safely get through this town, I'm telling you, that it is crucial to have a functioning Opticom system, because I'll just use one example, Christmas shopping season. And I'm telling you, to drive one of those fire trucks or an ambulance down Route 22, or even some of the other highways, without being able to change the lights to get the traffic out from in front of you, it's crucial. That's all I can say.
Would that be a benefit because of, for example, the accident we had on 22 also? To upgrade those Opticons?
Well, I think the Opticom did what it was supposed to do there, but
Yeah, but still.
yes, and right now, the Opticoms are,
20+
I don't
years
know
old.
if they're, I don't
Or
know
25
because
years.
of their age, but they're slow in responding, and some of them are slow in responding because of a busy intersection like 22 and 48. It has a whole bunch of directions it's got to get shut down before it can give the emergency vehicle the green light. And the newer stuff is faster. It sees you sooner. It gives them time to get that intersection shut down and change the directions to the emergency vehicle. I'll give you an example, Tom. Coming down from number 5 Fire Hall towards the Parkway bridges, that Opticom doesn't see us until we get under those bridges. And by then, we're at a standstill, And I'm not saying, you just want to keep moving to the emergency call. and then you turn right on 22 and it starts all over again, And some of the newer Opticom systems would have those traffic lights turned to empty that traffic out a bit, although some people don't even know what to do when the light turns green. But either way, I think it's very crucial. It's not just for the fire departments, EMS and police too.
For everybody.
Well, to your point, Mr. Harvey, I mean, that's definitely a capital budget improvement that is a separate budget than this. So Mr. Little, I'm sure, will be meeting with Chief Cole, Mr. Hugus, as far as the traffic signals, and get a proper estimate on those for the capital improvement budget.
Other than
Coming
that,
down
Get an
as
estimate.
possible.
Call it.
Okay, council, so any other discussions of the 2020 budget at this point?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to move over actually to public comment on the budget, just the budget itself. You will have
Are we
multiple
going to do
opportunities.
roll call and pledge allegiance?
We'll do that in a little bit.
Okay.
So, is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on the 2020 budget only? Once again, there'll be multiple opportunities for you to do this over the next few months, but is there anyone like to comment at this point? We're going to close that portion of the meeting, and actually what we're going to do is we're going to adjourn the public hearing. Is there a motion to adjourn the public hearing for
Motion
the
to
budget?
adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, we're going to take a 5-minute recess, and then what we're going to do is then start up our Citizens Night meeting for November.
Hey, where you been?
I'm really surprised.
I would like to call to order the Municipality of Monroeville's Citizens Night and agenda-setting meeting for November 7th, 2019. It is approximately 8 p.m. Would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a presentation, Council, by Brian Teeger, Progress City LLC, Autism Employment Network. Brian, you're here. I'm sorry, Brian. Kiger?
Kiger, yes.
I mispronounced that.
That's
Sorry.
quite all right. Happens all the time. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you to Councilwoman Linda Gatos for making us aware of this and inviting us to come out. I know the mayor has been to our store over on Route 22 as well, and so coming here today to introduce you to Spectra Dolce, which is our confection store on 22 in the former Park Street Treats location. Actually, stone's throw away from here. And Spectra Dolce is a product of our Autism Employment Network. So the store will be completely staffed by adults on the autism spectrum as a training facility, training opportunity, a workplace engagement opportunity for adults who are struggling to find meaningful, sustainable employment with an employer. It is a training tool that we actually hope will help prepare people for sustainable jobs with members of our Autism Employment Network. We have municipalities who are part of our network. Cranberry Township signed up about 2 weeks ago. We've got manufacturers, we have IT firms, and they joined the network to learn more about autism and to engage with us in a way to employ adults in these sustainable careers. And so it's been a pleasure to launch our store on 22 here within the last month, taking over for Park Street Treats. And the support from the community so far has been impressive. I know, like I said, Mayor, you've been in with your family, and Linda was at the grand opening ceremony on November 2nd. We hope that we can turn that corner of 22 there, where it almost meets Monroeville Boulevard, into a light of hope for these adults that are struggling to find employment. There isn't a day that goes by that we don't have somebody come in and ask us how they can work in our store, to the point that we're somewhat overstaffed at this point, and trying to find additional opportunities for them to get meaningful employment with Spectra Dolce, with the Autism Employment Network, and with Progress City, our parent company. And so we're glad to be residents of Monroeville and be able to offer this business opportunity as well here in the municipality. I think that's, if you've got any...
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful what you're doing there at that facility, and we're really proud to have you as part of our community. And could you explain the waffles a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So, so we do have authentic Belgian waffles. These are not the waffles that you might get at, say, a Denny's or anything like that. Belgian waffles, authentic Belgian waffles, are actually made with a pearl sugar, which is a beet sugar that caramelizes under heat, and it doesn't burn like cane sugar does. And it's actually a dough, not a batter. So it is actually a dough that is placed onto the waffle iron. And it is more like a pastry. You don't put syrup on it. We did have a customer who stormed out when we didn't have syrup. It is a pastry that you can eat with your hand. You can put ice cream on it, fresh fruit, Nutella, or even cookie butter spread. These are the same waffles that the waffle carts in Times Square serve. And so it is certainly something that is a staple. And in addition to the Perry's ice cream, those of the people who are fans of Perry's ice cream come in, and they're happy to see that as well. We do all of the dipping of the Oreos and the peanut butter meltaways and the pretzels and all that stuff right there in the shop. And we're teaching people how to learn this valuable skill set in culinary arts and even customer service and packaging and assembling right there in the store. And so it's been a whirlwind of a couple months to get this up and running, but it's been exciting and rewarding at the same time.
And your hours?
We are open right now Tuesday through Saturday. Tuesday through Thursday, we're open 11 to 8, and on the weekends, Friday and Saturday, we are open 11 to 9. And we hope to expand to mornings and even Sundays and Mondays as well.
Excellent.
All right.
Great. Council, any other questions?
No, just,
thank
you know, we thank you for bringing the business into Monroeville, as being Monroeville residents as well, raising the awareness of autism, the understanding, and the tolerance, as we spoke about at the opening.
Yes.
And I think that's a great thing as a reach out to the community. And if anybody would have any need for, or would like to have some employees,
Sure.
they could contact you directly?
Yes, they can.
Stop over, get some candy, and have a
Stop
little
in,
talk.
get some fudge, get some candy, and ask for
Which is
Brian.
fantastic, by the way. Took some
Thank
home
you.
for the hubby.
Thank you.
So-
Yeah, we'd be happy to help anybody with this, use some training on autism awareness, and then that engagement, that coaching to help
Yes.
them understand how they can make that.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
So thank you, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Welcome.
to your wife as well,
Best
who's
of
in the
luck.
back.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Okay, we're going to open up for citizens' remarks and comments on any municipal item. If there's anyone that's signed in, and you also have an opportunity to sign in if you have not. Where am I? So, sir, if you could state your name for the record, please, and that you are a Monroeville resident.
Yes, my name is Len Young, resident of Monroeville. And with the weather being so balmy today, 80 degrees and sunshine. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was talking to my parents down in South Florida, that's right. I got a little mixed up. Let's talk about the swimming pool, Bel Air pool. I understand that it's a done deal now that it's been sold. Is that right? Addressing council in general, what was the feedback or the tone of your constituents that contacted you about the swimming pool? Did they urge you to sell the pool?
Yeah.
Anybody?
I got no phone calls. Just
Nothing?
that's me.
So the residents of the municipality, they were in favor of selling the pool or not, generally speaking?
I would say what they had to say, they said here in the audience. I didn't get any phone calls at my house.
Right, but people who did come up here
It was the members of the
take time to
pool,
speak up.
Glenn,
Yeah.
that were
you-
against
you
us
did. I apologize.
selling
You
the
did.
pool.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's just-
The reason I'm bringing
I
it
mean,
up is,
You did.
Yeah, they wanted us, but there wasn't a lot of other input from other residents.
it just seems such a shame. I mean, you drive on that turnpike, they got a lot of room. I know they want to expand and everything. It's probably going to be like 5 or 6 years until they even get around to moving dirt.
Len,
Yeah,
we had to sell it to them.
had to.
Eminent
Who put
domain.
the gun to your head? I mean, it's like,
Yes,
No, it's here's one more time.
yeah.
They were going to take half of that property. That's all they wanted. That would have closed the pool. They were going to take it, one way or another. Either we sell it to them, or they're going to take it. They decided to give us an offer of twice that much to take the whole piece of property, because if we agreed to it, they were going to put a salt dome there. If we said no, they were going to take what they wanted and move down the road.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's not a complicated issue, because
understand.
they were going to cut our pool property in half. And there wasn't a deal. There wasn't a negotiating power on ours. Something we couldn't say, oh, no, we disagree to that.
Well-
Because they were going to file papers.
yeah, I'm no engineer, but I know when I drive on that turnpike, there's lots of room on both sides that they could have shifted it over a little bit or something just to save our stinking pool. It's just, I'm very disappointed that the pool was sold, but it's a done deal, I guess, and that's the way it goes. The good news is, Saturday nights, nobody's got anything else better to do than watch reruns on the TV. So what you need to do is go down the American Legion, bottom of Duff Road, Gold Star Post 820. We moved the bingo up an hour, so instead of waiting until 8 o'clock, the bingo starts at 7 p.m., Saturday nights, Gold Star Post 820, bottom of Duff Road there on Old William Penn Highway. Bring a few dollars and have a great time and support a worthy cause, too. That's all.
Thanks,
Have a
Len.
good night.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address council?
By the way, this young lady, I have talked to her on the phone.
Many times. We became close personal
Yeah, we did.
friends in the end of June and beginning of July. We talked on the 4th of July, or the 3rd, actually.
Right.
So, Candace Bruno, I am a resident. I just wanted to get an update on what's going on in the pool. We couldn't talk about anything. We couldn't make plans before the sale. The sale unfortunately went through, so I just want to know what's going on.
good. And just before, I apologize, because I was going to have Mr. Poach present this before the comment period. But do you have anything else you want to comment about other than that, or you just want to get the update?
I just want to get an update, and I also want to know, I know that we said that rebuilding the pool was unmanageable. We couldn't do it. Is that still, I know that you said that we were tasked with a problem to open the pool 2020, or open options for swimming in 2020.
That's correct.
So what about 2021, 2022, 2023, future? That's what I'm looking for too.
That part has not been discussed further at this point.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you want to
No, that was
comment
it. I
about?
just want to know where I'm going to
Mr. Poach,
swim.
if you want to
Sure.
just give your presentation.
And
I'm
Len,
sorry.
yeah,
for putting
and
this
I
up.
could have saved you probably some topics too as well too. So, again, back to the original, our original conversation, and Ms. Bruno and I have also communicated as well on some stuff. Our task has been with our committee, has been to replace the focus has been for 2020, the aquatic services. And I'm going to use that as a broad term because it doesn't just include those things that went on at the pool, it's and a lot of things with the Parks and Recreation Department as well. If you were here for the other presentation, they discussed some things they do and don't do, but they're continuing their programs as well. So that's taken into consideration. Just as a quick review, we had a focus group meeting. That's a point to start with, in addition to the public comments that we had received from everyone here on Citizens Nights for the last couple of months. We tried to get an understanding of what our capabilities were, and we used some of the community pools as well, the clubs, to talk to them about what was their capability and what's their viability too. We didn't want to like jump into something and not have a thought on that. We got a positive reinforcement that we started to move ahead. So on, I have my agenda sitting here, I wrote my notes down. So 29th of October, we met here, there we go, with the members of the residents, our committee with the other pools that were in place in town, in the community, and discussed, okay, folks, what do we need to do and what can we specifically, drill down into and make happen? Number one has been provisions for the swim teams as well. Interestingly enough, that group brought a lot of information forward to us regarding the league, the capability, the things that are in place. The most impressive thing that happened, I think, that night was everybody was willing to roll their sleeves up and get to work with that. In fact, one of the pools, I believe it's Haymaker, correct if I'm wrong, was going to inquire to some parameters with the league. What does this mean if the team exists in different places? So we are getting that answer from them. So those folks have jumped into that process.
Yes.
Right, because you have to be a member.
Yeah, Eastern Suburbs, like to do that. So there were some parameters we weren't really aware of that they brought forward to that. The next piece was we started to talk about common program features as well to continue with swimming lessons, things that are in place, what people do, what they cannot do, who's willing to do that. And to summarize that, again, the groups have said, okay, we're going to meet that group again, and that group included Haymaker Swim Club, Gateway Heights, Garden City, Park Swim Club, JCC, and then, of course, our committee and Mr. Little as well, and Mr. Estock from Parks and Recreation. So it's a larger group that's starting to work on this. Our goal has been now, let's come up with some type of implementation plan that we can then present to the public. Okay, that's the next piece of this, to do that. My intention to do that is to have that together, be able to have that plan posted, say here's a rough idea of the things that we can do to do that, and then entertain a meeting with public comment. Okay, advertised appropriately here, minutes taken, information that's ongoing for where we're moving forward with that piece. Is it going to be everything exactly the same? Of course not. It's not the same physical location, to do that. Some things may be better. I'm waiting to hear some outcome for the league and the swim team piece. I don't really have a sense of that yet, but those groups are working together to do that. And they were reaching out to the swim coach. I almost forgot to do this we had the conversation. Thank you. Swim coach and that leadership of the team from Bel Air.
Okay.
So they've reached to do that. So they were speaking the same language. Okay, so that particular team as it exists to do that. Intent is great. Okay, we know we're going to solve this problem right away. I think it'd be successful if we start to look forward into the longer term. What's that going to be? I don't have an answer for that just yet, but that is the intent of it, because we don't want to, this is not just to put a Band-Aid on it for 2020. It's to make sure that the programs exist, and that's been the problem. I think I've said that before. If not, I'll repeat it now, is our intentions to assure those programs continue to exist into the future, to that. And that was some of the reasons we had a budgetary discussion on how, the funds are in there to continue to support programs that were at the pool. How does that look now? Because you can't have a budget item for something that doesn't exist.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's going away, but he understands that. I think that's a successful way to explain that. Tim, is that an accurate assessment? It's not going away. We still will be able to do that, which included in that budget item things like the camps and programs and swim lessons and things that occurred at that facility to do that. So we understand, it's May, things open up, we want to try to move forward as we can. Mr. Little's office has been helping us with the calendar to look forward to that public meeting. It's very busy for a while. I hope to have that soon, the end of January, February timeframe. I hate to say that now and not be able to deliver on that time, but we're working with that group the group that we just mentioned to get some more details, put some more, meat on what we're talking about that's in place.
Okay.
Okay, so we will continue to move that. Don't want to ignore it, don't want to go away from it. We're not going to let it go. We want to get the programs moving forward, and I hope we'll get better as the years go on with it. We have to do that as well.
Okay.
Okay, with it. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, and thanks for keeping in touch with us. I appreciate it.
I will. I'll keep
Yes,
keeping
ma'am.
in touch.
You know how to get in touch, that's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Poach. I'm going to keep the floor open for citizens' comments. If you have not signed in yet, please do. State your name for the record, please.
Justin Kelnicki, Woodhaven Drive. This is now the fourth council meeting since the lovely events of July 21st, which has left us homeless. And you know what I was coming for.
I was going to read it.
Awesome. So we're seeing if the meeting's ever going to happen and when that's scheduled for.
Want me to read it now?
Yes.
Sure.
Harvey,
Yes.
yes,
Sure,
please.
Justin.
Dear Logan's Ferry Road residents, area residents, the Municipality of Monroeville and Ward 3 Councilman Ron Harvey would like to inform you that an informational meeting will be conducted on Wednesday, December 11th at 7 p.m. in the council chambers in Monroeville Municipal Building, 2700 Monroeville Boulevard, regarding stormwater issues on Logan's Ferry Road and the area. And I would add to that if you didn't get a letter and you live in that area, you are still welcome. We tried to send it to direct residents that were generally affected by those situations. So not every road and every resident off Logan's Ferry Road, especially ones to the right, may not have got a letter. Everybody to the left and on Logan's Ferry Road, it just went out. Cut me a little break here. It just went out today, okay? So, anyway, so the letter's out, the meeting said we had to have the proper officials here that could give you the proper answers as much as they could. So there is going to be about 7 officials here, myself, Mr. Little, Mr. Ratcher, Mr. Hugus, Mr. Story, engineering firm from the flood mitigation firm. And am I missing anybody, Paul?
I don't believe so.
All those people will be here.
Repeat the day and time again for them. Repeat the day and time again.
December 11th at 7 p.m.
Here.
That was going to come under my council report, but that's okay.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Is there anyone else who'd like to address council on any municipal item? Seeing none, we're going to close that part of the meeting, and we're going to move over to our agenda-setting meeting. All of council is here, other than Mr. Duncan, who is ill this evening, and Mr. Arasinko, who is at a county meeting representing the municipality. Council, I have an executive session announcement that council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons prior to the budget hearing and Citizens Night, Thursday, November 7th, 2019, beginning at 6 p.m. until approximately 6:30 p.m. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at the November 12th, 2019 council meeting. We're not having a presentation's on Tuesday, right?
Apparently he must be.
Okay. And we will have a presentation from Nova Insurance on Tuesday. Council, in front of you to review are your minutes of the Citizens Night meeting of October 3rd, 2019, the council work session of October 3rd, 2019, and the regular council meeting of October 8th, 2019. Any comments, additions, or questions about the minutes, council?
No, sir.
No, sir.
None.
No, thank you.
Council, moving over to our reports of our tax collections. Any questions or comments this evening?
No, sir.
None, Mayor.
Very good. Council, list of bills and budget transfers. Mrs. Gatos, we'll start with you. Do you have any questions this evening?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Poach?
No, sir.
Mr. Harvey?
Nothing.
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Johns?
No, thank you.
Mr. Wilson, very good. And payroll report, council, any comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll move over. Very good. We will go over our vacancies on our boards, commissions, and authorities. There will be, as the new year always, as we approach the new year, there's always many more vacancies that are available. So any residents that are interested in getting involved on a local level with the municipality, please check out the vacancies and get your name in for consideration. Council, bids and proposals. We have one this evening, the municipal building roof overlay bid. Mr. Little, please.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Sorry, Jeff.
we had a bid opening yesterday for the municipal building roof overlay project. And council has a spreadsheet in their packet on the prices that have come in on the bids. We had 4 bidders who bid in a range from $232,000 up to $385,000. The bids are probably a little higher, or probably higher than what council probably expected. And just to explain a little bit of that, first of all, we had a pre-bid meeting last Monday, not this past one, the Monday before last. And we had 6 bidders up on the roof looking. And we have 14 HVAC units up there, and not only that, but we have the parapet wall that is up there, and the roof rolls up, and it goes up onto the cap. And there's a little drawing that's in the back that Steve Altair, the architect for MS Consultants, he put a little sketch together on that, and maybe a little bit of a drainage system that has to be added up there, made the project a little bit more expensive than what it is, or than what we thought, according to how many square foot the project may be. So the project itself is a little bit more complicated than what was anticipated. The successful, if council awards the bid, the successful bidder will have until May 1st of next spring to complete the project. Steve Altair, the architect, and I talked about this extensively. Initially, we had it at the end of this year, but as we know, the weather literally is going south. But one of the stipulations that's in the bid specs is that if they do begin work and they quit, they have to secure the roof so we do not have any damage inside. There's any leaks. We do have leaks on occasion, hence the reason why we're getting the roof repaired. So they have until May 1st, a successful bidder has until May 1st to complete the project. Council has the spreadsheet, and you'll notice that tennis...
Where is that at, Mr.
Where is
Little?
that?
It's in your packet.
In this one?
No, it's in your...
Here we
Ah,
go.
I've looked through the entire thing
Yeah,
3 times.
Sorry.
Look at that again.
Thank you.
Got it.
Okay, one of the low bidder, Tennis Roofing and Asphalt,
That makes it easier.
they're the low bidder. However, Steve Altair, the architect, he put out 3 addenda. And 2 of those addenda were important. And the contractor, Tennis Roofing and Asphalt, only picked up 1 addenda. They had to stipulate this in the bid contract that they picked up all 3 addenda from a company called Printscape, which MS Consultants uses. Everything's done electronically nowadays.
But they were definitely notified?
They were not here for the pre-bid meeting. It wasn't mandatory, though. But the advertisement was in the paper that you had to pick up everything at Printscape. And obviously, they had to contact Printscape, I would imagine, in order to receive the bid documents. Now, why they did not receive addenda 2 and 3, we don't know. But that, as far as I am concerned, and my recommendation to council, disqualifies them from the bid.
Agreed.
And my recommendation to council would be G&W Roofing at $240,000, which is approximately a little under $8,000 more than the low bid. And believing that they did not have those two addenda is probably the reason why they were the low bid. And I've informed Mr. Ratcher about this this afternoon, so he is aware of it. Any other questions from council? My recommendation to council would be, even though this is higher, it's a roof, we have to get it fixed. If we're going to do anything else internally in the municipal building, it's like a house. The roof has to be fixed before you do anything else.
I'm good.
So,
It's great.
Mr. Hugus, any comments or concerns from your department about this?
I was not part of this activity. Mr. Little took it over.
Okay.
I gave Paul a little breathing room a couple months ago.
So,
I know he
no
was.
comment is what you're
I
saying.
know he
Say
was.
bleeding room?
He had enough on his plate,
Very
so.
That answers that.
He
So,
was happy he got
council,
that.
any other questions
Yeah.
about this?
No.
Let's get it
Very good.
done.
We'll move over to our consent agenda. We have new business. We have,
When do they start?
One
Mr.
item.
Little? When are they going to?
Well,
we
they
have to
can.
approve it first.
If you approve the low bidder, who I believe should be the low bidder, as I mentioned, G&W Roofing, they can, as soon as they get all their documents into us with respect to their insurance and all of that, then they can begin. And my suspicion, I don't know, they may not begin until the spring. All right, because when we had the pre-bid meeting, a lot of the contractors were under the assumption that they could start in the spring, and we said, no, you can start right away. And we one of the addendum we changed is that we made the completion date May 1st. So,
Vote
Thank
on
you.
that Tuesday night?
correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, council, our new business, we have one item of new business, 19-5- SUB, Victor Paluso. Mr. Little, please.
Yeah, applicant is requesting a preliminary and final subdivision approval of tax parcel 640N306 and 640N304. The applicant proposes to subdivide the two lots so that Lot 1A has a total of 7,501.52 square feet, and Lot 1B has a total of 15,829.33 square feet. Properties are located at 294 Alva Way and 2217 Mount Pleasant Road in the R2 one-family residential zoning district. Planning Commission has approved this application.
Mr. Wheeldon, anything to add?
No, it's a very simple subdivision. It's more of a lot line revision. There's two existing lots. They're just changing the shape of the two lots. MS Consultants has reviewed it. There were some minor comments. They've all been addressed.
Okay. Council, any questions? No. Very good. Moving over to our motions this evening. We have three motions. Mr. Little.
Okay, the first one is a motion to approve the settlement release of the Verizon wireless complaint. Council entered into this several years ago, and one of the items we talked about in executive session, and council will vote on this this coming Tuesday. Okay, any other questions from council on this, sir?
You want to give a summary of that?
I think we have to.
Yeah, basically, what the Verizon wireless complaint is, approximately back in I believe it was in 2014, we had noticed that Verizon across the country, this isn't just locally or in Pennsylvania, across the country, we were not received, when I say we, the municipality gets 5% of the gross revenue of the franchise agreement with Verizon and Comcast. And it was noticed by an attorney, and Mr. Cohen's, who is our cable franchise attorney, that on the late fees that were paid, a 5% fee paid to the municipalities was not being collected, was not being distributed to the municipalities. So this became a class action lawsuit across the country, and there were I think, 5 municipalities in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that entered into it. And one of them was Monroeville. We decided to enter into it. And the municipality, and it is taking 6 years for this to come to fruition. There was no legal cost or anything. Everything was paid by Verizon. But the municipality has gained a modicum amount of money of $20,000 due to this class action lawsuit. So council will vote for the release and agreement on this on Tuesday evening.
Very good. Next motion.
Okay, next one is the approval of the Vesely settlement. I don't know if you wanna-
If I may, without going into details, because I have not briefed council yet, because we ran out of time back there. And so I will brief you on Tuesday and put this matter up for consideration. Just very generally, what it is a landowner has a dispute with the municipality regarding the widening of a road, and if his property was taken in the widening of the road. And this is an attempt to resolve that dispute. So I will brief council on it in executive session, and then provided that you're of a mind to move ahead, then we can disclose it once it's approved.
Very good. Yeah, we can fully discuss it at that point. Excellent. Mr. Little, next motion.
Okay, the next one is a motion to authorize to advertise an ordinance authorizing the proper officials of Monroeville to enter into a collective bargaining agreement of the years 2019 to 2022 with the Police Department Wage Policy Committee of the Municipality of Monroeville. There is a tentative agreement between the staff and the Wage and Policy Committee, although the Wage and Policy Committee has not met, has not ratified on this yet. But we're just getting ahead of the curve here, and if council will approve the advertisement, we'll advertisement. So if the police rank and file vote in the affirmative on it, then council will be able to vote at the December 12th meeting to ratify it, and the collective bargaining agreement, which is a 4-year agreement, will move forth. Okay.
Very good. Council, any questions? We're going to move over to our reports of municipal staff. Mr. Ratcher, anything this evening?
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Little.
Okay, the first item under my report is Northern Pike Repair Project. PennDOT has informed the municipality that Northern Pike, just west of Abricks Creek Road, about 800 feet, will be repaired. The slope on the northern side of Northern Pike is failing, and that has to be buttressed up. So obviously, the road doesn't slide into the ravine, into the creek there. So that is going to start January of 2020 with an anticipated completion date of May 2020. Traffic will still be open. It will be reduced to one lane, and the traffic will be controlled through an automated traffic light. And also, when they're working there, they'll have workers there that have a sign up, stop and go, so the traffic will be able to go through. If you go through that intersection every day or twice a day like I do, I would suggest probably taking an alternate route, because I would imagine that traffic is going to be backed up coming back onto 22. They're going to have to control from 22. If you make a left, if you're heading west on 22, making a left on the Northern Pike, then they're going to have to control that right there, and there's only going to be so many cars that are going to be allowed in there, I would imagine. So that's going to be starting in January.
Can I ask a quick question, Mr. Hughes, about that?
Yes, sir.
When they're doing that, obviously, I'm very well aware of that hillside.
Yes, sir.
When they're doing it, when you're going down the hill, I mean, they might already be doing it, but I'm going to ask anyway. When you're going down the hill to the red light, right before you get to the red light on the right-hand side there, that ravine, where everybody cuts over to make so people can go the other direction. That, if somebody falls off that, you're going to have to get a tow truck to get them out of there. So I'm hoping that somebody's paying attention enough that they're fixing the other side. Maybe they'll consider fixing that part on the bottom right there.
That's
Just
not.
Just a thought.
Yeah, I know. You are correct, because I travel that at least once a day.
I know.
And somebody that's not familiar with that,
they're going to fall off.
They could do that. You're right.
Just a thought.
Yeah, looking at the scope of the project, that is not included.
Yeah, that's not part of the project.
I just thought maybe we could mention it to somebody so that they're over there playing around. Yeah. I'll be quiet.
That's a good suggestion, Mr. Johns.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Little.
Okay, item number 2, the 2020 terrain event. As we were talking about before, the terrain event was very successful. We had here approximately a month ago, and we have a schedule for another one next October, October 10th and 11th. Same time, same channel, I guess. I mean, I don't know if the details have been worked out at what time it starts, but we're tentatively starting for next year for October 10th and 11th for a terrain event.
Yeah, it was an excellent event, and, tip of the hat to everybody involved. I mean, from the rec department to the public works department, the community park employees over there, Forbes Hospital was involved, the fire departments were involved, the EMS were involved, public safety, a lot of hands on deck, and this company was very impressed with how our community rallied around this event and put it on, so it was very successful. Like we mentioned earlier, we're about 7,000, Mr. Johns, how many?
7,835.
Yeah, close to 8,000 people throughout the park in Monroeville, and also every hotel room was booked that weekend. Restaurants were full, a lot of positive, it really shined a positive light on Monroeville, everyone that came in, so excellent event, so looking forward to next year's.
Yeah.
Mr. Little.
Okay, number 3 is Monroeville's annual tree lighting festivities will be Tuesday, November 26th at 7 p.m. at the Old Stone Church. Always a great event, especially for the kids. Singing the 12 Days of Christmas, that's always a very nice event. And so that'll be the Tuesday, the 26th at 7 p.m.
And it's the 50th anniversary.
And it's the
Is it
50th
really?
anniversary, that's right.
Jeez.
Wow.
My anniversary.
And one last comment from me as my condolences go out to the Lou Smith family. Smitty was a character, and he will be very much missed. And the golf outing he took care of, and I wasn't a manager here when he was a lieutenant and a detective, but my understanding is he was a great one. So my condolences to his family. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Mr. Hugus, anything this evening?
No, sir.
Ms. Rock?
I have nothing.
Mr. Wilson?
Thank you, Mayor. My condolences to the family of Lou Smith, Smitty. I only knew Smitty for the last 10 years, but you're right, Tim. He was a character, but what a character he was. And I enjoyed playing golf with him. I enjoyed being with him. And he had his own opinions, and whether you liked it or not. Yeah, there you go. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Johns?
Yes, sir. About Lou Smith, better known as Smitty. If you lived in the area, everybody knew who he was, and in surrounding areas. You know, Smitty and I were friends longer than I can remember. More often than not, we were like oil and water. And I do mean that when I say that. But towards the end, he died a week ago today. Towards the end, he showed up at my driveway. We made our peace and said goodbye. So to Terry and your family, I wish you the best. That being said, a couple of things going on at the convention center. On the 10th, Greensburg Great Train and Toy Show. I apologize, on the 9th and the 10th. On the 13th and the 14th is the Three Rivers Wet Weather Soar Conference. I'm not sure what that is, but I don't know if I can repeat that again or not.
That's a good thing.
On the 22nd and 23rd is the annual Pittsburgh Arts and Crafts Holiday Spectacular. On the 30th of the month and the 1st of December is the Showmasters Gun Show. And with that, I am done.
Thank you, Mr. Johns. Mr. Harvey?
Great glasses.
Yes, I'm going to read the letter I read earlier one more time in case anybody is watching and didn't hear it. This is to the Logans Ferry Road area residents, the Municipality of Monroeville, and Ward 3 Councilman Ron Harvey, myself, would like to inform you that the informational meeting will be conducted on the Wednesday, December 11th at 7 p.m. in the council chambers in the Monroeville Municipal Building at 2700 Monroeville Boulevard regarding stormwater issues in the Logan Ferry Road area. I would ask that if you don't live in that area, you maybe stay in the lobby until we see how full we get. I don't know what the turnout's going to be like. We could get 10 people, we could get 100 people. So I would ask that room be left for the Logan's Ferry Road residents. And only one other thing, and again, it was with what everybody else reported on. My sincere condolences to the Smith family. Smitty was well-known person. He was a lieutenant that I served under in the Monroeville Police Department. I could go on forever telling you stories about him, but I'll just say that he was the most truthful, honest, consistently hardworking officer on the department, in my opinion. He taught me a lot, and he was a friend, and I will miss him.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Mr. Poach?
No, I just want to echo those thoughts, too. I mean, I had the chance to know Lou for, all of my time in Monroeville, and certainly really got to know him after he retired in his community activism. How's that for a good term? Yeah, to do that. And I was glad I had the opportunity to visit with him before he passed away and his family up at East. There was a number of people that spoke to me on Tuesday at the polls, talked about it and how they felt, actually came up and talked to me. I knew that we had also been friends to do that as well, too. So he's certainly going to be sorely missed by a lot of us. And I pass on Doug Cole's condolences as well. He spoke about him a great deal and during his passing too. So other than that, looking forward, and I appreciate everybody's efforts this past couple of weeks on our work with the poll program, and we'll keep moving that forward. I promise to do that, and to everyone here, also our help and the municipal staff that's helping keeping this moving forward. So thank you.
Unfortunately, Mayor, I think Chief Cole was one of his best friends, and I think that was the day he left on vacation, was the day he passed away, and I think Chief Cole spent his whole vacation thinking about that.
He did. He texted me thinking about it. Said he was having a drink and thought of Lou the other day. Like, you're on vacation, Doug.
Mrs. Gatos?
Well, I also condolences to Smitty's family. I got to know him when I was running for election the first time. He was very instrumental in helping get this community back in the right path, getting Doug Cole back in his seat and getting us all up here so that we could get this borough back to what it belonged and become the great community that we are. So, I thank him for that and being able to be part of that. I also want to thank the people from Spectro Dolce for coming up. What they're doing is an amazing thing, and I think that we all feel that way. And it's nice to have some good news happening in this town. And those kinds of things need to be shared more often. And lastly, we were invited to an event that was very touching. It was at Temple David on Saturday, October the 26th, and it was From Darkness to Light, From Embrace to Hope. And the service was phenomenal. And we also got to take pieces of glass for a mosaic that will be kept there for eternity to remember the victims of the Tree of Life tragic shooting. But the service was amazing, and I thank everyone that was there, that they welcomed us with open arms, and it was very touching. So I just want to say thank you to Rabbi Simon for reaching out to us, and then everyone that was a member that was there and how they treated us. And with that, I'm done.
Thank you. And I'm going to reiterate the condolences that my colleagues up here mentioned about Lou Smith. Yes, Smitty was certainly, Mr. Poach, a community activist. That's a good way of saying it. But he really certainly cared about this community.
He did.
Many years of service to the community in the police department, longtime resident. He was honest, persistent, tenacious. There's some words to describe him. And he will be sorely missed. So with that, I would like to seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you and good night.